I didn't realize the barrel of a gun was pointed at my chest until the red and blue lights were already dancing on the walls of my living room. "Stop moving!" an officer screamed, his voice shaking with a mix of fear and adrenaline. And for a moment, a horrifying, suspended moment, I genuinely thought those were my last seconds alive. All because of one phone call. All because my sister said she was afraid for her life. All because she wanted to win an argument. My name is Jordan, and if you had asked anyone who knew me, they would have told you I was the calm one of the family. The one who smoothed things over, who kept the peace, who swallowed his feelings so others didn't have to choke on theirs. I didn't grow up with the luxury of being loud or explosive. Not when you're a tall, dark-skinned black man in a neighborhood where even existing put you under suspicion. My mom used to tell me, "Baby, you have to be twice as patient and 3 times as calm just to stay alive." So I learned patience. I mastered calm. I practiced silence like religion. But none of that mattered the night my sister, Alicia, decided to weaponize the very thing I'd spent my whole life trying to avoid. Alicia is 3 years younger than me, a walking contradiction wrapped in big curls and bigger emotions. She was always the one who talked back to teachers, slammed doors harder than necessary, and dared anyone to challenge her. She wasn't a bad person, just self-centered, impulsive, and desperately obsessed with the idea of being right. She could twist any story into her favor, cry on command, and turn a miscommunication into a tragedy where she was the victim. And for years, I let her. I picked up the pieces she shattered, even when they cut me open. Our mother, Elaine, was the exhausted referee between us. A kind but stern woman who spent most of her life juggling 2 jobs, unpaid bills, and the constant fear that something terrible would happen to her son just for walking outside. She loved Alicia, yes, but she relied on me. I was the dependable one, the one she trusted, the one she leaned on so hard that sometimes I wondered how I was still standing. The story really starts the day Mom got sick. She didn't tell us right away, typical Mom, thinking she could hide her own struggles so we wouldn't worry. But when the coughing fits started, and the dizzy spells followed, she finally sat us down. I'll never forget the way Alicia reacted. Loudly. Tears, wailing, throwing her arms around Mom like she was auditioning for a tragedy. Meanwhile, I sat there quietly, already calculating doctor's appointments, medication schedules, insurance paperwork, rides, meals, and all the things Mom would never ask for but would definitely need. I became her caretaker overnight. Alicia helped, but only when it was convenient, when she wasn't working the afternoon shift at the salon. When she wasn't out with friends. When she wasn't too tired or too stressed or not in the right headspace. Every time she said one of those lines, guilt brushed against the back of my throat, telling me not to judge her too harshly. People cope differently, right? Not everyone can shoulder responsibility the same way. But when Mom's condition worsened and she could no longer live alone safely, the choice was obvious. She moved in with me. Alicia was furious. "You're trying to make me look like a bad daughter," she accused one night over the phone. "You're just doing this to be the golden child again." "No," I said, keeping my voice level. "I'm doing this because Mom needs care. You know she needs it." "Well, maybe if you didn't make it sound like I'm irresponsible." "I never said that." "You don't have to say it," she snapped. "It's in your tone." Arguments with Alicia were like stepping into quicksand. The more rational you tried to be, the deeper you sank. By the time Mom moved in with me, the tension between Alicia and me was thick enough to taste. She visited, but every visit was a performance. She'd show up with bags of expensive takeout or flowers Mom didn't need, then post on social media about how much she loved caring for her queen. Meanwhile, I was the one changing bedding at 2 a.m. and calling doctors during my lunch breaks. Still, I held my tongue. For Mom. But everything changed the day Alicia discovered the power of attorney papers. Mom had signed them quietly a month earlier, insisting she trusted me to handle things if she couldn't. I didn't brag about it or wave the paperwork around. I didn't need to. It wasn't about power, it was about responsibility. Responsibility I never asked for but accepted anyway because I loved my mother. Alicia found the documents in a drawer while looking for nail polish of all things. She stormed into the living room, waving the papers like a flag. "So this is what you're doing now," she yelled. "Taking control? Making decisions without me? You made her choose you." "I didn't make her do anything," I said quietly. "She didn't even tell me," Alicia shrieked. "You manipulated her. You had to have pressured her." Mom, by then too tired to stand up for herself, tried to soothe her. "Alicia, baby, nobody pressured me. Jordan just has a calmer head. You know how you get." "Oh, so now I'm unstable," Alicia shot back. "Great. Perfect. Thanks, Mom." She left in a storm of slammed doors and stomped footsteps. For the next week, she stopped visiting. Mom tried calling her, texting her, leaving voicemails, but Alicia only responded with cold one-word answers. I warned Mom not to stress about it. Alicia needed to cool off, but I could see the guilt gnawing at her. When Alicia finally did show up, it was late on a Saturday evening. I was in the middle of helping Mom settle into bed when I heard the door swing open without a knock. "Jordan!" Alicia's voice rattled the walls. "We need to talk now." Mom winced. "Please not tonight," she whispered. "I'm too tired." I kissed her forehead and walked out to the living room. Alicia stood there with her arms crossed, eyes blazing, purse dangling from one wrist like she had come ready for battle. She didn't even say hello. "Give me the paperwork," she demanded. "What paperwork?" "You know what I'm talking about." "I want it. Or I'm taking it." "Alicia," I said, "this isn't something to fight about." "Mom can explain." "I don't want Mom to explain," she snapped. "I want you to fix this. Undo it. Tear it up. Burn it. Whatever. That's not how any of this works." She stepped closer, jabbing a finger at my chest. "You think you're in charge now? You think you get to be the hero? You've always tried to run this family." I took a breath. "This isn't about running anything." Mom needed someone. "No," she screamed. "You just want control. You love being the responsible one. You love pretending you're better than me." Her voice kept rising. I could hear Mom breathing heavily in the bedroom. I held up a hand. "Alicia. Mom can hear you. Calm down." "Don't tell me to calm down." She shoved my chest. Not hard enough to hurt, but hard enough to shock me. I didn't shove back. I didn't raise my voice. I just said, "Leave. We'll talk tomorrow." And that's when she lost it. "Oh, so now you're throwing me out?" "Out of my mother's life." She grabbed her phone, eyes wild. "You want to see how you like being scared?" "Alicia, stop." She dialed 911. I froze. "Hello," she said, voice instantly shifting into something trembling, fragile. I'm at my brother's house. He's yelling at me. He's threatening me. I'm scared. Alicia, what are you doing? Hang up. She stepped back, putting distance between us, like she expected me to leap at her. Yes, she whispered into the phone. He's a black male, tall, muscular. Yes, I'm terrified. Those words sliced deeper than anything she'd ever said. Not because they were lies, but because she knew exactly what they meant. I felt my stomach drop. Mom called out weakly from the bedroom, Alicia, stop this. But Alicia didn't stop. When the officers arrived, they didn't knock. They didn't say hello. They didn't ask questions. They barged in with guns raised. Show your hands. I put my hands up instantly. My breath felt like it had been ripped from my lungs. Deputy lights flashed across the walls like lightning. My vision blurred at the edges. Alicia was crying now, real or fake, I couldn't tell, sitting dramatically on the couch. He was threatening me, she sobbed. He got so aggressive. I didn't touch her, I said, trying not to move too quickly. She called you because she was angry. Shut up and keep your hands where we can see them. One of the officers stepped closer, gun still drawn. You match the description, he said firmly. What description? I whispered. His jaw tightened. The one we were given. My knees almost buckled. Mom's voice wavered from the hallway. Please. My son wouldn't hurt her. Please stop. But the officers barely glanced at her. For a terrifying moment, an endless, sickening moment, I truly thought the next sound I would hear was the crack of gunfire. It wasn't until the youngest officer noticed Alicia's lack of injuries, the lack of overturned furniture, the calmness in my posture despite the chaos, that things shifted. He looked at her more carefully. Ma'am, did he physically harm you? Alicia froze. What? I told you he was threatening. But did he hurt you? Silence. When she didn't answer, the room shifted. The officers lowered their weapons, irritation crossing their faces. One muttered, another wasted call, under his breath. They left without apologizing. Alicia, suddenly realizing her plan had backfired, started crying again. Jordan. I didn't think they'd. I didn't mean for. I didn't let her finish. You could have gotten me killed. Her lip trembled. I was mad. You weaponized the one thing we both grew up afraid of. Her tears rolled down her cheek. I'm sorry. No, I said. No more. She reached for my arm. I stepped back. Jordan, please. I didn't know they'd come in like that. That's exactly the problem, I said quietly. You didn't care what would happen. You just wanted to win. She broke down sobbing, but I didn't comfort her. I walked past her, into the bedroom, where Mom lay shaking. I heard everything, she whispered. I'm so sorry. I held her hand. I'm okay, I said. I promise. But inside, something cracked. For 2 weeks after the incident, Alicia didn't call, didn't text, didn't visit. And for once, I didn't try to reach her either. I focused on Mom. Focused on work. Focused on learning how to breathe again without feeling phantom gun barrels pointed at my chest. Then one morning, Alicia finally sent a message. I miss Mom. Can I visit? I stared at the message for a long time. Then I typed, yes, but not alone. And not until we talk. Calmly. Respectfully. And with boundaries. She agreed. The conversation that followed wasn't easy. She cried, I shook, Mom listened. Alicia admitted she acted out of fear of losing control, fear of losing Mom, fear of not being the good child. She apologized sincerely, brokenly. But apologies, I told her, don't erase consequences. So I set boundaries. She would visit only when Mom felt up to it. She would not raise her voice. She would not make unilateral decisions. And she would attend therapy, something she'd always refused, to handle her emotional spirals. Shockingly, she agreed. Over the next months, things slowly changed. Alicia became softer, more aware, more patient, less reactive. Not perfect, but growing. Some wounds heal slowly, but they do heal. And me? I learned the hardest lesson of my life. Sometimes the people closest to you can hurt you the most, not because they hate you, but because they don't understand the weight you carry. And sometimes surviving isn't heroic. Sometimes it's just staying still when the world aims a weapon at your chest and says, "Don't move." I moved on, but I did not forget. Not what happened. Not what almost happened. Not what could have happened. But I also didn't let it define me. I'm still patient. I'm still calm. But never again will I stay silent to keep someone else comfortable. Not even family. Especially not family.